In this video, I'm going to share some tips with you that will begin to fill that void that you sometimes feel, that emptiness inside that you sometimes feel, and perhaps and hopefully, as they've done to me, bring a bit of joy into your life in these very uncertain times. Firstly, can I just say, what I really want to do is take this channel now onto the next stage. If you've been helped at all by any of the videos on this channel and you feel like helping the channel move further on, have a look in the description at a link, a Ko-fi link, and you can perhaps buy me a coffee and help support the channel move forward. If I can do this, then I'm going to make the channel more interactive and more connection with yourselves, hopefully, better quality, more interesting videos, etc. So if you want to do that, I'll be very grateful. And for those of you who have actually done it already, thank you so much. It means a great deal to me. Thank you. For many years, I felt a hole in my soul. I've mentioned it before in videos, and I think those of us that have had issues around addiction have felt this feeling. It's a feeling of a restless irritability and discontent, if you like. Even when you appear to have absolutely everything going for you in your life, and everything that anybody can want. And believe me, there's been periods of my life when, if you've been on the outside looking in on it, you'd have thought, well, what's he got to be unhappy about? You know, beautiful wife, children, great career, cars, house, material stuff, you know, anything that anyone wants, you know. And yet inside, desolation and a feeling of wanting more, an emptiness and a loneliness that it's difficult to put words on sometimes. And I think in these current uncertain times, because so many people, me included, are struggling at the moment to make ends meet even, you know, with the cost of living crisis. There's a lot of fear in the world at the moment around, you know, the wars that are going on and all of this sort of stuff. And there's been the pandemic, and, you know, it's not really conducive to finding joy or moving your life forward at all. You know, sometimes you think, bloody hell, you know, what's going to happen next? But I've had this feeling, and I'm sure many of you have had this feeling for as long as you can remember. I've certainly, going back into my childhood years, I've had it there. It's that feeling of, you know, you can never fill that void with anything. And what you did to fill it, or change the way you felt, was used any external means that you could. And I've tried everything over the years. As documented on this channel, the various drug addictions and alcoholism. I've tried to fill it, when I've been periods of sobriety, tried to fill it with food, sugary food, junk food, gorging and binging. I've tried to fill it with material things, jewelry and things that brought me no joy or happiness at all, any of those material things, or any of the things I've tried to fill this void with. I've tried to fill it with exercise, with sex, with all, you know, over the years, it's just been a string of me trying to change the way I felt. And I don't know whether it's an age thing but I've had to work really hard on myself to overcome this. And I'm feeling at the moment a peace and joy inside that I've never felt before in my life. And I'm beginning to learn how to fill that void and what to fill it with, if you like. Because a lot of it was around my self-esteem, and I had very, very low self-esteem and low confidence in myself. You know, even in times of great success, I never felt confident inside. You know, it was all an act, a sham, which is why I used drugs and alcohol to hide from those feelings. I changed the way I felt to become accepted by my peers, if you like. It was all an act. It was like a stage show. All the world's a stage, you know, you're just an actor on it. And that's what I was doing for most of my life. Playing a part of being happy, playing at joy. So you have to change your perspective, what you're doing, because you're not going to find it. You're certainly not going to find it online. That's the first thing I would say. Because scrolling down Facebook, I mean, I use this medium of YouTube and Facebook but I only ever use it for passing on a message that I hope somebody out there may get some help from. What I don't do, and what I used to do, is scroll through Facebook and YouTube, but particularly Facebook, and try and compare my life with other people's lives, compare the way I looked with the way other people looked or what they had. And that was just a recipe for disaster. That ruined my self-esteem even more, and it made me want to seek approval and all these things. It was tearing my soul out. So I stopped doing all of that. I just cut it out of my life totally. Felt better straight away for it. But the stuff you really need to work on starts, obviously, as I mentioned 100 times before, with gratitude. And it starts with being grateful for stuff around the simple things in your life that you've always taken for granted. Not what you want, but what you actually have in your life. And life on life's terms, not what you want to happen in your life, but what actually is happening, and dealing with that one moment at a time and one day at a time. That's how it all starts. And writing down those things you're grateful for at the beginning of the day. Because believe you me, and if you've got low self-esteem, you are a miracle. I think it's 400 trillion sperms are released, and one hits the egg that makes you. You are an absolute miracle. And life on earth is extremely short, and it can be snatched away from you in a heartbeat. Your whole life can change in a heartbeat. And we stroll through life, searching for all of this stuff to stuff in and consume that we think will bring us this joy and this self-esteem and this acceptance. But it's rubbish, all of it, because joy is inside us. It's not from outside us. It's always in there. It's been in there from the moment you were conceived. You've just got to find it. And that's difficult. So how have I helped my self-esteem, and how have I found some peace and joy? Well, gratitude, obviously, I've mentioned already. And it started with me writing, I'm alive and my family, I've got good health and my health's okay. It started with tiny little things, and now I can't stop writing. And that, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So that's truly important, first of all, because you start to look at the world through different eyes. You start to see the beauty in it rather than the awful stuff. And that's not to be aware, you should be aware of the awful stuff and help where you can. And that's the second part of my tips, if you like. And that's giving service. Now, what I mean by giving service, because you all have busy lives out there. I mean, my life's busy. But, since I've retired, I have more time now. But I try and dedicate that to giving my time to help others, or a chunk of my time to help others and give service. If you haven't got time to do that and volunteer and help people less fortunate yourself, because if you do that, if you've got time to do that, it's a real gift, because it will bring a joy into your life that you've never felt before. And it'll really help your self-esteem, because you'll think, well, I'm not such a bad person after all. It just helps build that up. But to give service is the greatest thing we can do for another human being, to help someone else. Because if you're looking for a purpose on earth, it's to try and leave the world slightly better than when you arrived in it. If you're looking for purpose, and everybody needs some sort of purpose. You can stroll through life thinking, what am I here for? Can't be bothered. Or you can wake up, carpe diem, seize the day, and get out there. And if you haven't got a job and you haven't got money, as most people haven't, I haven't. I've hardly got any money. But I've discovered that that's probably the least important. As long as I've got enough to buy some food and to pay for a roof over my head, then I'm happy. I'm at peace with that. So that's that. But the other part of giving service is kindness. Just be kind, because there's so much hate and intolerance and anger and resentment in the world. It's there, isn't it, all around us. And we soak it in like sponges, and you've got to learn not to do that. You've got to learn to be kind wherever you can. And sometimes that just begins with smiling at people, without being creepy, if you know what I mean. But smiling at people, if you're kind to someone, it might not change the world, but it might change their world. And that's what's important, isn't it? Because then you've made a difference. you making the world a slightly better place. And being kind can mean visiting an elderly relative or an elderly person that you live next to. Talking to them for 10 or 15 minutes will make their day. Fetching the shopping for them, helping them wherever, if you can, you know, helping other people where you can. All of these things are basic, aren't they? They're not rocket science. But in the busy world we live in, with all the stress around us, we forget all about it. We forget about being human and showing humanity to other people and kindness to other people and a bit of love and spreading that around. Because believe me, if you're doing that at a constant level and feeling gratitude on a daily basis, everything else starts to slot in place. You start to want to look after yourself by exercising and having a clean diet and everything else. And then you get out and find connection. If you're lonely, because loneliness is another thing that is a major issue with that hole in your soul. I got out and I faced my fears and I walked into the rooms of AA. That's not for everybody, I understand that. But for me, it was about finding connection. You need to find your tribe. And finding your tribe is truly important, and people who understand the way you think and feel. Finding connection every day with other human beings is essential to your well-being. So if you're doing all of these things, slowly but surely, you'll wake up, you'll start to feel this inner engineering, if you like. It's an inner peace that you begin to find, and everything else sort of follows on. You do a bit of meditation, or perhaps a bit of prayer, a bit of this, a bit of that. It all starts to come and slot into place, and all the things that you used to think were important before take a back seat, and you really understand what is truly important in your life. And that's trying to be the best you can be and give as much service as you can and be kind as you can. And just simply do your best every day. If you do your best every day, then you can't have any regret or feelings of self-loathing or all of this sort of stuff. Just simply do your best every day. You're not perfect, you're perfectly imperfect, but you are unique. You are a beautiful human being. Every single one of you watching out there is unique and beautiful. You've just got to find that beauty in yourself and start thinking, you know, that having some regard for your own self-esteem and your own self-worth, because probably for most of your life, it's taken a back seat. Anyway, I hope that's been helpful. If you find these videos helpful, please, as I said at the beginning, look in the description below, Ko-fi, buy us a coffee, and every penny will go towards me improving the channel, getting some better equipment and moving the channel forward to the next stage and hopefully reaching more people that can be helped by it. Carpe diem, seize the day today, make today the day you change your life. Just be kind and just do your best. Bye-bye.